Hi there, Kim. So I wanted to ask you to introduce yourself and tell me what you do at the 7th Street Studio.
My name is Kimberly Mittelstadt. I am an administrative assistant with the Laramie Plains Civic Center. As a part of that job, my job description entails working here in the office at the Civic Center and then also running the 7th Street Studio, which is a pottery studio where we offer community classes for children and adults to learn different pottery techniques such as hand building or wheel techniques.
And who else is on that staff?
Well, so the 7th Street Studio began in January of 2017. It was started through Melissa, the executive director, through the, I'm forgetting the name of the grant. I'll have to remember that. But it was started through a grant project that she got to start the studio. And then Kathleen Clymer came on as a volunteer to start offering hand building classes. And so in about February, I took one of her classes, and I have been doing pottery since about 2010-ish, and because of that, I offered to begin teaching a wheel class. And so it all started off volunteer-based. Kathleen and I kind of got the ball rolling in January and February, and since then it's kind of grown. And since then I've been brought on as staff to the Laramie Plains Civic Center, and yeah, it's been really exciting.
So what got you into pottery?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, my freshman year of college, I was choosing between a pottery class and another class because I thought boy was cute, and I was like, well, maybe I'll take this class. And I was like, no, that's dumb. Boys will come and go. Like, I should take the pottery class. And so I took a pottery class my freshman year, and I just became obsessed with it. Like, there's just something about it as a form of art that you can just be so engaged with, and I think I probably skipped way too many classes being in the studio instead of taking my other classes, but I have just been, in love with the form of art ever since.
So just to give a plug to when you do your classes, what kind of classes do you teach, and what kinds of things would people learn in those classes?
So I specifically teach wheel classes, and we also offer hand building classes, which are the classes that Kathleen teaches. Her experience is teaching at a variety of different elementary and middle schools, so she has lots of experience with kids and specifically hand building, and then myself, just through personal experience, I have a lot of wheel experience, so I teach the wheel classes, and as a part of that, I mean, there's a plethora of different techniques. A lot of it just starts out with general history of pottery. It's a very unique form of art in that it's not something that can easily be told to someone. A lot of it is kind of how you're feeling the clay, how you're working with the clay. So for me, it's been very difficult and challenging as a teacher to learn how to vocalize and find words for what it is that I'm doing, so that way I can show other people how to do it. So personally, that's been something that has been a fun challenge for me as I've been taking on more classes. And it's really great to see my students at first, because inevitably you're gonna struggle with the clay. It's difficult to handle. It's a weird thing to be working with. It wants to do its own thing, and it doesn't want to do what you want it to do. So when you're making a cup or a bowl on the wheel, it wants to be a blob and not a cup or a bowl. So a lot of it's just teaching people different techniques about how to work on the wheel, how to use water properly, the different properties of the clay, the history of firing, and then we go through the firing process and the glazing process with our students, and all of that is covered over the 6-week process. So it's really great because within those 6 weeks, students are taught everything from the basics to everything you'll need to know through the process of firing and glazing and then ultimately having pieces.
And these classes are for children and adults?
Yes, we offer children's classes primarily in the summer. This summer we began our first summer children's classes, which were a hit. And those were 2 classes back-to-back over 2 weeks. So we did 2 Thursdays. And kids could come with their parents and make art, and most of them were hand-built projects, and the class was taught by Kathleen. So we had them making cups and bowls and fun presents for Father's Day, and then on top of that, we also offer adult classes, which we carry throughout the year, where we offer adult hand-building classes, it's really the class to start with if you don't have any introduction to pottery or working with clay, because it teaches you really the fundamentals of how to work with clay that can then be built on when you get on the wheel, because the wheel is a it's a beast of its own.
But amateurs, anybody can
Yes,
sign up for this.
absolutely. Yeah, we've had beginners through even people who maybe took classes in high school 10 years ago who've been like, hey, it's been a while since I've been on the wheel. And along with our classes, we also offer studio time. So if you have experience working on the wheel or doing hand building, or you just want to come in and make something for 2 hours, we offer those on Wednesday evenings at the moment, and also Friday mornings. So people can come in depending on their schedule, just create art, and that's a little bit, it's less hands-on, so we just let people do what they want. If they have questions, there's always an instructor present, so we're there to assist them, but it's less of a instructional period. It's a lot more loose.
Okay, well, thank you for talking with me, and it was very informational. Thank you.